Chapter 3. Betrayal and Obedience. Samuel was quiet for a moment, and it appeared as if he had started talking to himself. "They were more separated than united," he said, pointing at Cush. "Let me say this. This United States we live in was divided in every aspect of the word. They were divided by the color of their skin, race, financial status, religion, and political parties. Back in the days, they had some fool running for president whose slogan was 'Make America Great Again.' Our people were asking, when was it great for us? The United States should have been called the Divided States of America, because even the division was divided, and that division, along with greed, caused its downfall." Cush looked at Samuel, and he laughed. "Sorry, son, just thinking out loud. How fat people were at war with the skinny, dark-skinned versus light-skinned, rich versus the poor. Single mothers versus wives. But never mind that for now." Samuel leaned back in his chair and pointed at Cush. "Lean back and rest, son, I've got a lot to tell you." As he continued, "This was before they made these bubbled cities, but it wasn't until King Joseph of Old Ireland became king that the word Wakatilians was first mentioned in modern history books. Now don't misunderstand, we got away from having authority figures like kings, queens, presidents, and all that during the Latronculian War, or some would call it, World War III. Samuel waved his hands in the air carelessly, but old King Joseph was the great-great-grandson of someone who was of the so-called royal family back in the days, and he did something extra special to, or for the Abenians to reclaim that title. Anyways, Mr. King Joseph was just a simple computin," Samuel said with his fingers up to motion quotes, before saying, "He had that special DNA, elite tier 1, shit, and thought he was number 1 and hated any type of authority other than his own. They also knew him as a cold-hearted, self-centered, arrogant, narcissistic, egotistical, and drunken whoremonger, and any other negative term you can find. Until he met Chi from the clan of Kamaria, it was often said that he wasn't the brightest light in the room, if you know what I mean." Cush said, "No, I don't." Samuel shook his head. "It means he wasn't too bright." But Chi, on the other hand, was a strong Wakatilian woman who demanded respect and never settled for anything less. She was the total opposite of her oldest sister, Ella, a concubine slave by choice, who was already in King Joseph's palace. She was the Queen of Ireland for 3 years, give or take a couple of months, when she was murdered as the first wife of King Joseph and given the title of Greatest Maiden Peer of Old Ireland. Samuel became animated. Cush laughed at Samuel, as he talked in a European dialect, and Samuel smiled back at him. "You see, in ancient England they had a system whereby your inheritance gave you a special position. This inheritance classified you as being royalty, and King Joseph adopted this same system when he came into power." Samuel scratched his head. Or was it his father? Anyways, King Joseph is the one who married our ancestor. They brought back this system, but it died before King Joseph's death. However, their marriage and her execution made her a historical figure in the first political and religious upheaval that led to the Computans' separation from Abenian authority and rule. She was the daughter of Shaka and his wife Lizzie. Lizzie was from Southern Ireland, a proud descendant of the Twa tribe. Chi wasn't her real name. Her real name was Anaya, but everyone called her Chi for future references. You can call her Queen Anaya, the first. We'll get to the other two later. Samuel paused. "You see, back then, the Abenians, hell everyone, saw Wakatilians as inferior and as nothing more than property. So, you can imagine how they felt about Queen Chi, a Wakatilian woman who was now married to their king. Things were never easy for Queen Chi. She had to endure countless attempts on her life, including an assassination attempt by her own sister Ella.